Hi, my name is Akhilesh and I welcome you all to the Tech Short Show. Today we have Mr. Prasanna Lohar to share his thoughts on the future of the enterprise technology, or we can say how the new age technologies will shape up businesses in the year 2022 and beyond. Prasanna is Chief Innovation Officer at DCB Bank. He's one of the brightest influencers in the BFSI and fintech space. When asked to define himself, he said, "Innovation is my passion, collaboration is my attitude, execution is my action, and architecture is my forte." Welcome to the show, Prasanna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Akhilesh, for inviting me here at the Tech Shots session. It's an honor to be here at such a nice platform. Looking forward to discuss with you and see how emerging technologies are going to be the change agent for the future banking.
Thanks, Prasanna. And let's begin with the discussion. So, as you know, before COVID, banks never had the culture of work from home. So, how did the banking sector cope up with the pandemic situation with the help of technology?
Yeah, I think if you go back in 2020, February 2020, which was, I think, normal for most of the banks and most of the organizations, there was not much impact of COVID-19 or so-called, there was no situation, so-called pandemic situation. But I think I remember the moment when Maharashtra government announced lockdown in Maharashtra for some days and for 14-15 days. And that point in time for initial 60 seconds, I was just thinking that how do we operate, right? How employees will be operating, how customers will do the banking in the coming days. That was the situation where I was thinking about only 30 days while the lockdown was being announced. And today, after I think almost more than a year, what we are seeing that complete customer behavior has changed, or even the employee behavior has changed. Now, most of the organizations are operating either work from home or a mixed kind of a format. But looking forward, by default, customer behavior has changed. I think the customer who was visiting my bank branches, or a customer who was visiting cinema halls, or customer who was visiting restaurant, is the same customer now want every other service around them, rather on the mobile phone or on mobile first kind of a model. So that shows that that has impacted on various business models, either in a bad way or a good way. But typically what this pandemic has given a trigger, digital transformation is a part of now DNA of every organization. The organizations who were doing digital transformation earlier, before 2020, and now the speed is quite changed. Collaboration at organization level, collaboration out of the organization has really changed very nicely, and rather in a positive way. Countries are collaborating with each other. We have seen many collaboration impact on within a banking. We have seen, and it's kind of a filtering exercise for those fintech companies also who were operating, not operating. This pandemic has given a opportunity to really filter out the startup ecosystem and to see which are those prominent, risk-taking, innovative startups will come in our life. So if you really ask the situation before pandemic and during pandemic, initial few months were like a work from home was people were enjoying. It's like a log in the morning and a log out in the evening. But I think over a period of what we have seen now, right, we may feel that too much work is happening and work from home is really good for employee or organization. But what we have seen eventually, I think work from home plus some kind of a physical connections or being in the office really different culture altogether. At least in India type of a country, we need to meet together at least for meetings, at least for some of those gatherings, right? Which I was seeing some few days back, some of the photographs of those, how employees were smiling, giggling, or acting together. So I think those are the things which really drives company at a larger scale. I think if organization has understood, I think they will certainly change the gears based upon type of role or based upon type of responsibility. Either they will have a work from home forever, or some kind of working from office is also has to be nurtured in an interest of how do we really maintain a culture of that organization. What I have seen during pandemic, some kind of a reskilling, lot of reskilling has happened because that's the role of HR, right, to keep people engaged, and I think a lot of reskilling has happened. Many new business models arise. And I think if you ask me, when I joined DCB Bank way back in 2014-15, I had done around 20 projects live within one and a half year. And I was feeling like, wow, such a great achievement. But during pandemic in March, April, May, June, July, I think I had made more than 45 projects live, right? That's a speed, and that's a urgency, that's a digital transformation. Rather transformation, it is a reformation, right? Go back in your boardrooms or discussion rooms and see what is that customer is really looking for. Say example, there are a lot of challenges on liquidity during the pandemic, or how do we get more customers on a lending side or a current account and fixed deposit sides. So how do we bring on more digital first journeys? I think those organizations who were ready with some kind of a good architecture, the architecture is open on open banking or fintech adoption or something new on a digital first or mobile first. I think those banks has a really good edge to really get succeed. But if you really look at the organization who were not ready, they had suffered a lot. They are not ready with the ESB. They don't have those people who can really work on that orchestration layer to be open as a digital first journey. I think that has given a trigger to most of the banks. Now they have to reform their strategies. That is what I said. It is not a digital transformation, but digital reformation has happened during last 1 year. Reskilling was one part which has really played a major role out here in this whole pandemic. I think when we look at, we have people around you, when you have your business model, then technology is a part who always comes and change your whole adoption journey. Just imagine, right? If Zoom or similar kind of platforms are not there, how would I have really interacted the way we used to interact in 2000 or 2005, right? So that is why technology is very important. I think mobile phone internet adoption was huge in this last 1.5 years. And typically there are other technologies, like say example artificial intelligence and maybe IoT, or we will talk about that during this conversation. Those technologies, for sure, in my view, those technologies will become normal technology in next 3 years. We are talking them as emerging technologies. Maybe after 3 years, we'll talk a lot on use cases on that technology. We'll not talk about what is meant by blockchain or what is meant by how do we do that, right? What we will talk is a use cases. How do we really become another better bank for our customer, my customer, or how do you bring more collaboration kind of ecosystems these days? I think what I had seen the way technology is being adopted in last 20 years, and maybe in 2014 to 2020 was the era of like a collaboration era, where we have opened up APIs, we created platforms where I am collaborating with the fintech companies, or we are collaborating with other banks. Like UPI is one example, right? We collaborate with all the banks, or a Bharat Bill payment, or account aggregator, which is gonna come, or blockchain is an ecosystem, which is a collaboration ecosystem, right? So pandemic, COVID, and plus additional technology like 5G or wearables, or you talk about augmented reality, that era will take us to the autonomous era, like automated car, or maybe we are talking today now on this platform, digital platform. Today, tomorrow we'll talk in a augmented reality world, right? Where you and me are sitting together, or our holograms are talking to each other. So I think that is the era now coming up. So pandemic is a one threshold, like, or one line. After this, much of digital transformation or reformation will happen, and stories and business models will be altogether different. I think banks who has really understood that they have to adopt enterprise and emerging technologies, I think that those organizations will have a better edge in the future, Akhilesh.
Okay, so let's talk something on the technology part. What we discussed is more of a human approach to the pandemic and how everybody reacted to it and what are the expectations. But let's talk something on the technology part, the critical functions, how we kept those operational, and what are the changes you made in the technology. And as you said, like it was very surprising move for everyone. So what kept you awake in the night, and how you use technology to deliver services to the customer? That's the most important, because everybody needed money, especially in those times.
Yes, absolutely. I think very good question, Akhilesh. What happens, during any crisis or during any such agenda, right? And this agenda was across all the banks or all the organizations, right? Say example at my bank. So the way I said that collaboration was at peak. What does it mean? My business stakeholders, my top management, my IT stakeholders, my infra stakeholders, IT security stakeholders, they all were talking in one room. Say example on conference, on phone calls, right? What is that we should do, right? So that's the first most important part of every organization. Everybody was together. If you look at a traditional banking, you will have a silos between business team and IT systems or HR. Everybody will at times operate in a silos, and sometimes they will come back and say, let's do this kind of a project together. So when I look at my bank's journey, right, I think when I joined in 2014, I must say the way we adopted many technologies in the backend were very helpful for us journey or digital reformation journey during pandemic. I'll give you examples, right? So example 14-15, we were starting our journey on API banking or enterprise service bus building, which we have completed in 2018. Now, when I want to create a digital first approach for my customers, when my customers are not going to come at my branches, right? So I had to create some applications wherein they can come and open their fixed deposit or account, right? On the fly on the internet. Unless I have my API banking or ESB, I will not be able to. If I am doing it, there will be another rework in the future to again adopt API banking and recreate that journey. So the best part, we were anticipating these kind of changes in the future in a customer behavior. So adoption of a good API banking platform is very important. Second, technology. How do we really immediately deploy the applications on-prem, right? Where cloud technology is very important. So, or virtualization. So I think that we have adopted again way back in 17-18. And now suppose my developers, my testers are working from home, they will ask for a virtual environment for testing, virtual environment for development. So those were ready on the fly on the day one, right? That is how the adoption of technology ahead of these kind of challenges has to be in a journey of every organization, right? Now let's say example, I am already in pandemic, I don't have or I have some of the technology, right? For example, customers is not coming to branches, how do I reach out, right? So we have one application which we call it as EDSR, wherein we provide this opportunity for branch staff, right? They can call to the customer and collect those potential customers' data for lending or any of those business opportunity products. So that product was available in their hands. They don't have to really visit. They were able to collect that data, right? On next point is like we have created a digital first journey during that initial 2-3 months. So I have seen how business team, tech team, they used to work day night. I repeat, they used to work day night, including Saturdays, Sundays, so that we have to create this application in front of customers and bring a lot of liquidity, right? Say example, to bring some of the fixed deposit, 10 fixed deposit, I need to make so many calls as a branch user, right? Or a bank's frontline user. But if you have a digital application, which is on my mobile app store or on a website, and I just do some kind of a propaganda or a digital marketing, this is a link or this is an application available, and only thing what is that our staff has to do, just handhold. Come to this platform and use your Aadhaar, PAN, followed by your wish list of how much fixed deposit or what is that account you want to open. We have seen, I think, thousands of fixed deposits opened in a very efficient way in initial months, and that journey still continues. Now imagine a digital product just came out during a pandemic, thought process, the strategy, and we launched it, right? Followed by KYC. KYC is another problem in front of a banking customer, right? So now, as a banker, I am not visiting Achilles to collect data, right? Or KYC documents or your birth certificate, this and that. As well as you will also not come to the branch to give your physical documents. So video KYC came into our life in a banking fraternity in 2019, right? 2019 end rather. RBI recommended, yeah, certainly now banks can really utilize. I think that has given a trigger in March, April, and I think 4 to 5 banks, including DCB Bank, was all live on the system. Now imagine you don't have to visit anywhere. You just have to show your face match, and you have to follow the instructions of that customer agent who will talk to you. And within a 3-4 minutes, you are done with your video KYC. Just imagine. Earlier, it used to take 5,000 to 6,000 INR rupees to open a bank account. Now that cost has drastically reduced. So as a bank, we are now thinking or looking at those opportunities where my cost, which was like say example, we are not able to do business. How do we retrieve more benefits, or how do we reduce the operations? So video KYC or digital first journey of a Zippy are some of the examples. Followed by DCB Remit, which we have launched, which will help for our customers to send money across 25 plus countries on the fly immediately without much of a KYC. Or we have done some kind of initiatives, say example, WhatsApp banking, which was available for a customer to send off your queries, and our customer agent need to solve that. So Akhilesh, what I want to say that this situation has given a trigger to the top management and to the key stakeholders within a bank to come together and think what we have developed in a initial 2-3 months, and how that energy, how that particular whole agenda, how can we convert that agenda at an organization level agenda. So we started with a mega project program, right, where we identified around 300 plus programs, which is around new different business model with the help of a fintechs or open banking or a robotic process automation based automation in a data centers, in a operation center, or we talk about adoption of AI for your better fraud risk management control, or adoption of adaptive authentication, or adoption of augmented reality for your mobile banking. So I think these 300 plus programs and different projects are now driven at a top level, right? Which gives a lot of incentive to the bank, the way bank was operating 4 to 5 years before. Now it is all completely changed. So in a nutshell, COVID was really a boost, but adoption of a right emerging technologies on time, with the help of a people, in collaboration with the people, in interest of a customer, aligned with the better security practices and the better regulatory guidelines. That is what I have seen in the change in the last 1.5 years. So that is why I always says adoption of emerging technologies or technologies on time with the right partner for a right innovation is a key for success of any of the organization. Yeah.
In both your answers, Prasanna, you touched points on like the future of banking, the future of enterprise technology, basically using technology for banking. So can you elaborate can you elaborate more on these, how technology is going to be, redefine banking in 2022 and beyond?
Yeah, so I think let's say example, banking is for you and me, right? The customers who are visiting branches at a branches, or a customer who is taking their mobile phones and perform the transactions, right? Now customer is ever changing. The customer, I'll give an example, right? In 2016 end or 17 start, I have visited a lot of places in India, right? So one of the place I experienced a very good experience where at one location, at the end of the evening, I wanted to fuel my car, right, with a diesel. And none of the diesel petrol pump was there in the vicinity of 50 kilometers. And there was one small shop where old lady was sitting, and I asked whether she has a diesel, right? She said we have a 4-liter diesel remaining at the end of the day. And after diesel fueling, I asked whether she is going to accept a card or Paytm or some QR code and so on. But I think what I have seen, this lady said, I don't know what is meant by card. I don't know what is meant by this Paytm or QR code, right? That was the era of 2017, okay? And fortunately, I went to some ATM, got some cash, and the transaction is done. And moreover, in that area, I was not able to book a hotel also, right, for me and my staff, because internet was not. That was the era in 2017. Now today, when I visited again that place, a lot of internet was available. I used to see a lot of like a 4G adoption, and even the lady, right, she was able to accept card on point of sale. She was able to accept QR code, and she was asking me, Google Pay hai kya, please use that, right? That is how the adoption. Now here onwards, what I want to say that your customer is changing. You don't have to go and tell them ki this is a mobile phone and this is a WhatsApp and this is a Google Pay, this is a UPI. Customer is ever changing. And the way pace of internet adoption is, the customer is going to change heavily. Now there is another wave of a millennial customers, right? Your kids. Now they have their different view towards banking. They are not going to visit your branches. They want everything around them. They are going to do the banking on those mobile phones. If you give them a newspaper or a magazine, they will start clicking on that. Where is that click? Where in the newspaper will take it to? I think that's a human behavior. Now, when organized, I'll give another example in Amazon Go, right? Shopping. You can enter in a shopping mall, you can come out and you can pick up your ingredients, and you are based upon your facial or based upon your palm, your authentication is done, and your behavioral or your biometrics is attached to your financial instrument, right? Similarly, tomorrow UPI will be a financial instrument for those connected cars. You take your car inside a petrol pump, come out, automatically you will be asked OTP and you go out without touching any point of sale and something like that. So that kind of a cross-industry innovation is gonna come in our life, right? Say example, I enter in a shopping mall, they give a lot of options, right? Without wearing those clothes, you can see in front of a smart mirror, you can do a lot of options available. So that kind of a robo-advisory, that kind of advisory will come on your mobile app. You have a 1 lakh rupees in your app, automatically it will give 10 more options in front of you. This is how you can really invest. And that comes with a adequate adoption of artificial intelligence and big data. So adoption of technology is very, very important, so that instead of calling those thousands of customers and tell them you have 1 lakh rupees in your account constantly and these are different products, instead of that, you are doing away with the human and directly you are giving that touch onto your mobile first journeys. And if you will not give, there is another bank or another fintech company who is sitting and will give that adoption to that. So coming back to your question, there are quite a lot of changes will happen in the customer behavior, and you have to adopt a lot of technology. Say example, wearable technology, right? Say example, I am wearing this coat. Tomorrow I don't want this blue color. I will just click one button and that will become a green, because green is my favorite color on that day. So that kind of a personalization will come in a banking, right? So bank will tell you, if you have to come up with a saving of 50,000 rupees at the end of a year, it will always give some kind of a notification, some kind of a nudge, do this, do that, then only you will be able to save. These are the different schemes and so on. Another thing is like like I was talking about wearable banking, like SBI Bank and some other bank, Axis Bank has come up with the wearable payments. So more and more touchless and contactless payment adoption will happen in the future. Like, say example, in front of ATM, you don't have to do anything. You just have to stand, your facial expressions will open up your menu, and you have to just type it down, what is that amount or what you want to deposit or take out. Or something like you can post a transaction mobile banking app and take a OTP which will be available valid only for 1 hour, and visit the nearest branch or a cash point and take out the cash without touching much of or without using card. So cardless will be quite a lot of journey, or touchless banking will be journey. Your refrigerators will order your food, right? You have to program ki at the end of a week, I need so many eggs, so much of vegetables in my refrigerator. If not, a smart contract based trigger, a blockchain based trigger will go to the warehouse, and directly your nearest DMart or nearest Big Bazaar will ship that particular ingredients to your home, either physically, or maybe in the future, robots will come into the picture. This is what we have seen. During pandemic, some of the robotic companies, robots were delivering the food at your homes or within the corporate houses. How robots were helping doctors in the healthcare. That cross-industry innovation will come in the banks, so that you will have a robots within a bank. For some of those repetitive operations, they can come and greet and help you for a balance inquiry or some of the other these kind of initiatives. I think adoption of a blockchain will be heavy here onwards, because what we have seen, formation of currency, right? Say example, we have had, I think 86% of our currency was rechained during demonetization. Can we not use some kind of a 10% or 2% in a digital format, right? So that is what some experience certainly we will see in India. 80% of central banks globally are already working on a digital currency, blockchain-based centralized bank digital currency. I think that could be one of the better innovation which will be based upon a blockchain we'll see in the next 3 to 4 years within India also. What we have seen, Akhilesh, UPI was a landscape changing exercise on mobility. Or you talk about, we'll talk about on a data or API, we will see account aggregator will be another landscape changing exercise. Maybe down the line 2 to 3 years, account aggregator will be prominent ecosystem for all banks, not only banks, but insurance companies and other regulators also. So I think technology will play a major role when 5G will become reality in coming 2-3 years, right? So just imagine what all different models will come up during the 5G, right? your variables, your car, your home will become a transaction point. Automatically, your electricity of tube light will be automatically paid off by that tube light itself, right? Those machines will do. So, in a nutshell, today we are in era of collaboration. Tomorrow, in autonomous era, your digital identity, which is allocated to me as a human being, right? As a Aadhaar is being allocated. Likewise, many country has its own digital identity. Now that digital identity mapped with a technology ecosystem or a marketplace will take place a lot of new business models, which is already taking place like Paisabazaar or a Loan Bazaar or Insurance Bazaar. There are some companies like a decentralized finance companies who are not regulated. So they are already providing your banking services on a blockchain or a crypto kind of a ecosystem. And moreover, tomorrow's banking gonna be a bi-directional banking. Today, Akhilesh as a customer go to the branch. Today, Prasanna as a customer open up a mobile app by going inside the mobile app. Tomorrow, that bi-directional nudge will come directly onto the mobile app. This is a customer transaction you did last time. You want to do this way time also. So that kind of that can happen with learning that data, right? With machine learning and or some kind of artificial intelligence. While doing this, all these adoption of technologies, it's very, very important to take care of a security or a cyber security per se, right? Cyber security on mobile apps or it's a huge, like during pandemic, we have seen it has gone, this frauds has gone 20-30 folds, imagine, right? On a UPIs or your internet banking, not many guidelines are coming. Recently, Indian banking regulator RBI has come up with a new guideline on 18 February on which is for digital payments, how you can safeguard your payments, how a user who is utilizing mobile phone or internet banking, how they should use. And in the backend, how banks should really take those AI or blockchain or those technologies to really create those invisible banking kind of interfaces with more security. One experiment which we are doing to create persona of a customers on AI, right? So we understand, say example, Prasanna is a customer. He is doing transaction on in India, and all of a sudden within 2 hours the transaction is coming from Russia or Ethiopia or some other country where he cannot travel within 2 hours, right? So immediately give a nudge to this customer, are you the same customer, and give a second factor authentication. So these are in the back end. So those may not be, the customer may not understand this is something based upon technology. But in a back end also a lot of digital transformation is happening on the technology. If you give me a more minute, I'll just depict how transformation or reformation is happening in all the organizations.
Sure.
So taking a pause, say example, a bank, right, or an organization want to do a digital transformation. So transformation is at a 3 level areas. So first areas is your front area, another area is your mid area, and the back is the back end area. So front area is all about your front office where you are serving your customer at branches or on mobile phones, or you are serving your internal customers on some kind of a CRM or some kind of a mobile app. Mid area is where a lot of operations are there. Reconciliation, dispute management, contact center, so much of operations is being fed into the banking ecosystem, right? Or back areas where your data is there, or your backend system, enterprise service bus, architectures are there. Now, these 3 areas are getting transformed this way. First area is getting transferred on digital first or mobile first, so that no more human beings in branches, no more people to support, everything on a self-service based, which is on mobile first. And in middleware, which is like automation, lot of automation. Remove those operations with a robotic process automation or intelligent automation. Connect your front to the back through some kind of APIs, right? That is how is happening on mid. And in the backend, you will see adoption of digital marketing, adoption of AI engines, adoption of blockchain, adoption of big data, like those technologies. So this way, if an organization categorizes in 3 areas and build a power or build governance structures and adopt a very good roadmap for adopting new technologies in the interest of their customers, in the interest of their strategy, I think this kind of digital transformation could be very, very helpful for any of the bank or any of the organization. Yeah.
So let's talk something about the customer experience. So what digital tools basically you use to enhance your customer experience. And when I say customer experience, it is both inside the bank and outside the bank, like your employees and bank users.
So I think when you look at statistics, I think when you look at statistics, if you have 100 customers, okay, there are only 10 to 15 customers who are actually your primary customers. The rest of the customers, sometimes they will come, they may not come, right? And I think you will find at least 20 to 30% customers will never do banking with you. So it's a challenge and opportunity for every organization to convert all those 100 customers as your primary customers, right? So that's the first opportunity, I must say, in front of every bank. So that comes with a happy customer. Like, how do I really make one customer happy so that they can recommend that software, that tool, or that product, or that service to the other customer? That's the agenda which we carry. So customer service is a very, very important agenda for us. So we drive some of the different things, okay, at our organization level. So for external customer, right, which is one of the pillar of our digital transformation, we do customer engagement workshops with our customers at our branches. We invite some 50-60 potential customers or some good customers, and we interact with them for a couple of hours. We ask them, this is something we are launched on internet banking, this is something which is coming as a WhatsApp banking or UPI, and we seek their feedback. And what is they are looking for their better banking at a corporate level, SME, and a retail customer. There are mix of customers and mix of generations also. That is something which we do, and we track those as a projects. We track those as a change request or innovations to do in the banking, right? So this is something which we do to create a better customer experience at a bank. Okay. Now, secondly, based upon our experts' judgment or our domain expertise, we come up with a better customer experience. Say example, Akhilesh is a customer who is entering at a bank branch at 10 o'clock, and he comes out at 2 o'clock. I don't know for what purpose he was sitting in the bank branch for 4 hours, right? It's not a movie theater that you get a lot of entertainment, unless my bank branch is not really doing well, and they're asking, please wait, we'll do the operations after 1 hour, we'll open your account, sir, wait for some time, right? So Akhilesh customer experience is not that, right? So that is something on a branch kind of a experience. Let's talk about branch experience, right? So here what we are doing is that we capture the image of CCTV footage when Akhilesh has entered at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. And we capture the data at the end of a day, how many customers has entered and how many customers were there below 30 minutes and how many were above 1 hour. So we ask those explanations to the branch managers. What has happened, this and that. So on a regularly basis, okay. And another thing is like, if a customer has entered at 10 o'clock and what time he was in front of a desk, was it at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock or immediately at 10:30? Then that is an incentive wherein we can understand whether to put more customer relationship officers in the branches or not, right? So that is how we use technology like computer vision and AI to understand their facial expressions. Are they happy or unhappy while entering in the bank branch? And are they happy again while exiting the bank branch? If not, again send a trigger to the branch manager what is really happened. Moreover, the trigger will go to the cluster officer or maybe in a corporate office. Out of those 50 branches, 25 branches had some sad customers. So that gives a overall how many customers are really doing good or bad. So that is something or a branch experience. I think technology can be used at a branch experience to see how is the design of branches, right? How the utilization is really done. Similarly, that customer experience on mobile app. So mobile app, we have a multilingual features, and I think most of the banks are now giving many features. So today's mobile app will become tomorrow's super apps, right? Super app. What is super app? Super app is an app which is providing all kind of services, not only banking, but also for non-banking also. Like say example, shopping mall or ordering food or Ola Uber connection. Likewise, you have seen YONO or PayZapp. So these are the banking apps. Now, most of the banks will now come up with a super app. So these kind of innovations we are now building on mobile experience. Mobile is a very good place to play around many technologies. AI, to just give a good nudge or a good notification for a customer or a good personal finance management hint or awareness or education in a different language or a chatbot within a mobile app or a directly interaction on a video with a customer agent on a mobile app. So mobile app is being at a front for a lot of innovation. So cashless or cardless, right? So how can you morph your cards on NFC or contactless so that you can just tap your mobile phone onto these POS devices? That kind of innovations will now is coming onto the mobile phones. So augmented reality within a mobile phone, right? You just point your mobile phone in the air. It will show you where is the nearest branch and where is the nearest ATM. And if you click on that, it will take to the Google map directly where it is. So that's how we have done that pilot on the, how do we really, it is called as a searching a point of interest. Here point of interest is searching a ATM or a branches. Tomorrow I can create other point of interest based upon Achilles's interest. Achilles's interest is some hotel or some kind of a sports club or some kind of anything, right? So I can show those point of interest also for Achilles when he is visiting Mumbai or when he is visiting Nagpur or when he is visiting other cities. So that kind of a personalization and a nudge. Just imagine Achilles receives a nudge at evening. Arey, you are following this route on a daily basis. Why are you going with another route? But if you are going to another route, would you like to visit this pizza or would you like to visit this wellness or something like that? So that is a bidirectional banking which is coming more onto the mobile apps. Internet banking, which is another challenge. I am sure that internet banking will be vanished in the next 5 years. We don't have to really build any of those apps, right? So now, apart from your ATM, where a lot of customer experience has come, like we done India's first Aadhaar enabled ATM. You just have to use your Aadhaar and thumb. You are done with your transaction. This is what I had done in 2016 March, right? So likewise, contactless ATMs, voice-based ATMs, and facial ATMs. Lot many ATMs are coming up, not only India but outside of India. But it has its own journey of certification and so many other things. So certainly we will try tomorrow or maybe in the future iris ATM based upon your iris authentication to the financial transactions. So more and more contactless, touchless experiences will come on these channels. So we spoke about branch, ATM, mobile, internet, and so on. So now I will talk about invisible channels which you don't see. Okay, or you want to see those channels appearing in some Google app, like a Google Pay or a Phone Pay or any of those apps. So those are the channels are gonna become tomorrow's actual channels, right? If you see digital adoption, I think UPI or a mobile app is giving more than 60 to 70% transaction for a bank now compared to branches. Similarly, now this invisible banking will become a more at a front runner. So it's very important for banks to create a good people governance, which is helping for API banking or so-called mobile or open banking. So today we have a lot of business model like embedded finance, buy now, pay later, okay, or account aggregator. So these are the new business models. And if you want to be part of that journey, you need to have open banking ESB in your data center, right? So that is how is the future technology will change that kind of a customer experience into that model. So I think in a backend, when you have a better security on biometric or behavioral biometric, good AI, good big data, so automatically you will see today a branch banking was a primary channel in the past. Today it could be a mobile banking. Tomorrow it will be a aggregated banking. Mobile banking will become one of the piece of that whole chain where you will have insurance, telecom companies, entertainment companies, bank, person, its user identity, Aadhaar, and the actual transaction will happen in vicinity. That is why blockchain will come into picture and we will create that trust between all those stakeholders, right? It's a foundational technology. So those technologies will change a lot of a customer behavior and experience. Now let's talk about some of the internal customer experience, how it will be changed, right? So customer these days was visiting branches or doing a lot of paperwork, right? So all this paperwork now will get transformed to tablet banking, where customer visiting branch, so he can go and say, please operate a kiosk bank or a self-service bank, right? So that is the automation is happening at the branches. So our staff don't have to really get engaged in that whole manual operation. In the back end, right? In a back end, there is a reconciliation department where 4 or 5 guys every day basis download some files, match those files, create those reports, and send out those reports for a payout to the actual merchant and actual issuing bank or acquiring bank. This operation is a time consuming, error prone, lot of cost consuming. Now these operations can be really transformed onto the intelligent automation, where instead of human being, this can be done with the help of some soft bots or robots, right? Softwares. Or maybe in the future, blockchain can come up and change all the settlement structure or dispute management structure for people. Customer agents, like contact center. Now, some of the contact centers, what they are doing, some of the staffs, they are now migrating onto reskilling, and they are converting them into the robots. So robots will call you, Akhilesh, and will give the can of this product, that product. And if Akhilesh have some kind of a question which is not answered to the robot, then actually human intervention will come. So that is how we are saving a lot of manpower there with the chatbot or a conversational banking or so kind of a technology. So that is again experience for improvising the internal customer or internal employees, right? Another example, which is a very good example for a lead management, right? Or a collection of a data on the field. So those kind of mobile-based applications are coming. Say example, Akhilesh and Prasanna are part of a one team. And Akhilesh is doing so better and so nice. So Prasanna will get a 5 tasks automatically based upon the what Akhilesh has done without manual intervention, with the help of some AI and algorithm. And it will tell you, Prasanna, if you do these 5 tasks, you will reach to the Akhilesh's level. And Akhilesh also get some hints or a task. Other employees are doing this way. Would you like to enhance your performance? Then do these 5 tasks. This way, we are bringing a lot of gamification within the organization, and employee experience goes on to the top level, right? With the help of this kind of a gamification. So this is all about technology, right? So I'll talk about one concept. It's called as a digital dexterity. What is it? What is a digital dexterity? It's about your employee experience. Okay, so it is about how employee will adapt emerging technologies. How employee will adapt and adopt emerging technologies. So it's a duty of HR and some of the champions within the organization to talk a lot about big data, AI. See, it's okay. DCB Bank is a digital bank, and that's how we are. But there are other 90 banks, they don't know what is meant by AI or what is meant by big data. Ask some of their staff who are sitting in the branches for chatbot. They will say, what is this chatbot? Cooperative banks. Ask them, we are implementing AI. They will say, what is this? What is gonna they change? So I think digital dexterity is a phenomenon or concept. HR department should really adopt heavily as a part of a banking culture or as a part of a KRA. So how it will be helpful? It will create a lot of those awareness programs of cybersecurity, of new technologies, and maybe at a DCB we do this PAN bank. See, me and my team goes to the PAN bank and tell them or teach them what is meant by AI, with the help of what all innovations will come. And during that 2 hours of interaction with the branch officers, we get lot of inputs and lot of innovative ideas from the employees. So how it is helpful for employee experience? Moreover, employee feels that I am a part of a strategy. I am also imparting my ideas and my innovations, and bank will really take care of this innovation to really bring much more needed of innovation. So we launched a program so called as the Idea Express. So instead of going to the branches throughout the year, we have launched it as a digital tool, which is a website which is available onto the desktop of every or laptop of every employee. And there are a lot of categories, problem definition, which are given by various stakeholders within the organization. And those are available for 2 months, 3 months. So employees can give ideas or innovations around those problem statements. What does it mean? As an organization of 7,000 employees, if I get 70 ideas a month, just imagine how that organization will have a growth path. I think this is what big techs are doing very nicely. Google's or Amazon's, they run this kind of innovation programs for employees heavily, nicely, hackathons and so on. So I think when you look at employee experience as well as customer experience, it goes hand in hand. If your employee is happy, automatically your customer is happy. And if your customer is happy, it will bring more customers to make them more happy. And it's a journey. You have to adapt technology, awareness, and digital dexterity will be really helpful if an organization adopts digital dexterity kind of a programs or create some kind of a champions within an organization who will drive this as a campaign. So yeah, these are some of the thoughts. How do we improvise customer experience and employee experience?
So it was really wonderful, like listening to you on how banking will evolve, because I am also a bank customer. So thank you very much. It was very interesting conversation. So now, so far you have spoken as a banker, a fintech professional. Now give me your views as a technology as a senior technology guy. So tell me how how the technology will enterprise technology will evolve going forward 2022 and beyond.
Yeah, so I think when we say technology adoption, it's at every level, right? How your human resources are operating, or how your developers are operating, how your QA teams are operating, right? So now look at those kids of our generations, right? They have a different demands, right? And they have a different adoption of a mobility, tablets, and new technologies, right? So coming back, how do we adopt new technology at a developer level? Say example, a developer was doing some kind of a monolithic development, right, on a desktop. Now that development will go on the cloud as a service, right, which is already going on, right? So it will save a lot many things for the developer. Now maybe in the future development or coding will become a service which is available, right? Google's or Facebook's are really doing a better job on those things, and we have seen a lot of rapid application development tools are coming in part of a development. At a QA, a lot of quality assurance, a lot of automation is happening at a technology level, so that you don't have to do that traditional approach of Excel and do the testing, but it's like just to put those use cases with some input parameter, expected output, and run those automated batches, so see the output. So that's how we have seen. In a data center, managing your data center, monitoring your data center on a 24/7, lot of new technologies are coming. So AI ops, so earlier we used to talk about DevOps, right? DevOps, which will be helpful for your developers and a complete operations from your development till a deployment and management. Now in the backend at data centers, now that is taken over by AI ops. While for engineering, DevOps is things, DevSecOps is becoming a thing wherein a security practices are coming in. So when I talk about AI ops is something like, how can I really monitor an app? Something goes down, right? How can I get a trigger immediately as a business stakeholder? How can I get that trigger as a infra head? Otherwise, customer calling to the contact center saying your mobile banking app is not working is not a good experience, right? So AI ops will give that kind of notification before customer says something like that. So I think that kind of technologies are now coming and helping customer understanding where the problems are there in your network, problems are there in your apps, and so on. At the enterprise level, employee journey, right? Adoption of employees within a organization. So now we are building complete mobile suite. When a customer comes, it should not be a paper-based adoption or paper-based joining, right? It is on a mobile, right? Employee puts his Aadhaar number and we fetch out all of his details, joining and uploading of their documents, salary document. It all happens digitally today at a DCB bank. So similarly, tomorrow we are building this experience on blockchain. So say example, employee coming to DCB bank immediately available for other bank also. This identity is already working. So if he is coming to you and he's saying I am not working anywhere, so we can catch hold such employees, right? So likewise, employee with 3 offer letters and they make some kind of nuisance, right? Or they don't accept offer from 2 organizations, so these 2 organizations will come to know they are already, these guys already, so that's a technology adoption at an enterprise level on a blockchain based. Moreover, technologies are helping to understand customer better, external as well as this employee better, based upon their social media interaction. There are a lot of data available onto the various social media, right? So it's called as social listening. So this social listening is also helpful for us, for our customer care. Like somebody has put some comment against some bank, this is not working. So immediately that comment is available in front of a customer agent and they can respond there and there itself. So this kind of a social listening kind of a tools are now coming into our life. Other technology at the enterprise level is that project management tools, where how do we forget those Excels and bring everything onto the project, or intranet, right? Intranet with a better engagement for employees, where you can do a lot of surveys, you can have document management, you can learning management, knowledge management, right? So how do we really create a knowledge repositories based upon AI, so that similar kind of questions or similar kind of customer complaints are coming, so automatically how that data will be available for the front staff. This is a problem statement. I think this is something the predictive RCA for that. So knowledge management. So these kind of ecosystems are coming. So we are building some apps, digital apps for enterprises at front staff, wherein the way I spoke about the nudges or performance management onto the of the employees can be happened onto these apps. So I think at an enterprise level, technology is a front runner. Today we are talking about. I must have worked on a PC with a 211 MB hard disk, right? Tomorrow era is of a bring your devices, right? So everything will be available at a backend at your cloud. So Office 365, which is adoption by many organizations, which is a cloud-based email. Or you talk about a cloud-based video KYC, which we have adopted with our partner. So more and more things will go on to the from your managed hardware or managed laptops, PCs to the more and more things will go onto the cloud. This is what we have seen the adoption. And when 5G will come into picture, so cloud computing and edge computing will become brothers together to really adopt a better service for external customers and internal customers. So we have to keep an eye onto the upcoming technologies and ever-changing customer behavior, and that amalgamation of a right technology for a right customer with the right business model. So that will really helpful, and that will give a incentivization. How are we really adopting enterprise technologies within a bank?
So thank you very much, Prasanna, for all your time and all your knowledge that you have shared today. And it was wonderful listening to you. And I hope we can have a similar conversation in future as well, because technology is one thing that is keep on evolving. And as a bank customer, it was wonderful listening what is coming for us in future. So thank you once again for your time.
Thank you so much, TechShots, for inviting me here for such a wonderful interaction. Based upon my experience, I could able to tell about how digital transformation can be happened in the organization, how digital dexterity is very, very important, how collaboration and the innovation with the right technology partner and the right set of within an organization teams can be very helpful. So customer is a king. We have to always listen customers, and listening a customer can be happened with the help of a right set of emerging technologies. Thank you, Akhilesh and TechShot teams, for inviting me here. I am Prasanna Lohar from DCB Bank. Thank you so much.